Here we have the seamus. The seamus. This is sweet potatoes, carrots, prunes, and dried apricots with a mixture of honey, orange juice, a cinnamon, and there's butter. And this is chicken with apples and onions and honey. So, honey, apple, onion, chicken. And this is the honey cake. Little piece got stuck, don't mind that. Welcome, Shana Tova, Happy New Year. We are going to be lighting the Shabbat candles. I have an existing flame, and I'm not Jewish, so I don't have the head covering. I'm not going to be doing everything perfectly. And if I were Jewish and I was lighting these candles on Shabbat, on Rosh Hashanah, I would not be filming.
This is just a demonstration.
Also, I would not be using my phone. I'm supposed to be covering my eyes the whole time. To begin with, I'm supposed to take my hands. Well, no, that'll be after I light the candles, huh? We're praying that we would all be inscribed in the Book of Life for a good and happy, healthy New Year. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be right to left. I think it's supposed to be right to left. We'll say I light the candles, and then I'm going to take my hands and encircle the flame 3 times and cover my eyes. But in doing so, I'm not going to be able to keep my eyes closed the whole time because I don't know the prayer. I don't have the prayer recited, and I don't know Hebrew. I'm going to be attempting to read the Hebrew prayer from my phone. So it's going to be right to left. Praying that we're inscribed in God's Book of Life for a good, happy, and healthy New Year. This one's not lighting.
Yeah.
Traditionally, I would keep my hands covering my eyes this whole time. I won't be able to do that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת שווה של יום הזיכרון. The English translation is, Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments, and has commanded us to kindle the light of the Sabbath and of the day of remembrance. And now there's another one. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shenehekenya hanu v'kimanu v'hiyanu lizman hazeh. Translation: Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has granted us life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this occasion. And now we are gonna make kiddush. We're gonna make kiddush over the wine, this is the grape juice. I'm gonna say the prayer over the juice, over the wine, and we'll take a sip of that, and then we will partake in the apples dipped in honey. I have a short prayer. This is a short version because I don't know Hebrew. The short version for Kiddush, you would lift the cup. Come here, Ben. You lift your cup. Take one. Lift the cup, and then I'll recite it for both of us, I guess. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei kri hagafan. Blessed are you, God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine. Okay. And now we have apples with honey. Gotta dip it in the honey. We'll say Shana Tova, Happy New Year. And now Shabbat has begun, Rosh Hashanah has begun, and the year is 5,784. Happy New Year, Shana Tova. You can stop the recording. Hello, welcome back. We have just finished enjoying our evening meal, and now I wanted to share with you guys the story of Hannah. The story of Hannah, and this is from Chabad.org. Hannah was one of the 7 women whom God gave the power of prophecy. For altogether, we had 7 women prophetesses and 48 prophets, whose prophecies are mentioned in the Tanakh. The story, as we read it on Rosh Hashanah, from the first chapter of the book of Samuel 1, begins with introducing us to Elkanah, Hannah's husband. He was a Levite, belonging to the tribe of Levi, and lived in Ramatain Zophim of Mount Ephraim. Elkanah was a man of noble character and great piety. He saw with sorrow that many of his Jewish brethren were slowly drifting away from God. And he took upon himself to create a lively interest in the spiritual center of Shiloh, where El, the high priest, was the judge of Israel in those days. As prescribed in the Torah, Elkanah made a pilgrimage to Shiloh during each of the 3 festival seasons. Together with him, his family spent the holiday in a religious atmosphere in the holy city of the sanctuary. When the people saw Elkanah's caravan making its way to Shiloh in a happy and festive spirit, many of them joined him. A closer bond thus developed between the Jewish people and their spiritual center in Shiloh, thanks to Elkanah's influence. Hannah was one of the 2 wives of Elkanah, and she was childless. Silently she suffered many humiliations at the hands of the more fortunate Peninnah, who did have children. On one of the annual pilgrimages to Shiloh, Hannah stood in the sanctuary and poured out her heart before God. She prayed that God bless her with a son and vowed that she would consecrate his whole life to God. Silently she prayed, swaying slightly. Oh, Eli saw her and thought she was drunk. He rebuked her for entering the sanctuary in a state of drunkenness. But Hannah answered with dignity, "No, my lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before God." Eli realized the deep piety and grief which had moved this woman, and he said to her, "Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thy petition that you have asked of him." Hannah thanked him graciously and went away with happiness in her heart, feeling certain that her prayer was accepted. In due time, a son was born to her, whom she named Samuel, meaning, as she said, "I have asked him, borrowed him of God." I have asked him, or I borrowed him of God, Samuel. Hannah's joy knew no bounds. The first few years she kept him home. Then, true to her promise, she took him to Shiloh with an offering of gratitude to God. Turning the boy over to Eli, the high priest, Hannah said, "My Lord, I am the woman that stood by thee here praying unto God. For this child I prayed, and God hath given me my petition." She told Eli of her vow, and left her beloved son in Eli's care to be brought up in a holy religious atmosphere in the sanctuary. You might think that Hannah would be heartbroken to part with her son, for whom she had prayed for so many years. But Hannah was full of joy as she prayed to God and said, "My heart rejoices in God." These were the first words of Hannah's famous prophecy, which reads like a wonderful hymn. "There is none holy as God, for there's none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our God. Talk no more so exceedingly proudly. Let not ignorance come out of your mouth, for God is an all-knowing God, and unto him all actions are known. God brings death and makes life. He brings down to the grave, and he brings up. God makes poor, and he makes rich. He brings low, and he lifts up. He raises up the poor out of the dust, and lifts up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, to make them inherit the seat of glory." As we read the inspiring words of the prophetess, we can see at once how fitting they are for the Day of Judgment, Rosh Hashanah, when God decides on the fate of each person, who shall live, who shall be rich, who shall be honored, or otherwise. Our sages tell us that the prophetess Hannah has taught us several important things. One of them is the importance of reciting prayer in a whisper. As you know, we have the quiet Shemon Esrei, which is then repeated aloud by the Hazan if the service is held in the synagogue. The quiet Shemon Esrei, which we say in a whisper, our lips moving but our voice hardly audible, in the way that Hannah prayed, is the most important part of our prayer when the heart is full and overwhelmed in the presence of the Almighty. Then prayer is best expressed in a whisper. Hannah also introduced the holy name of God as the God of hosts, that is, the master of the whole universe, the hosts of heaven and earth. It is the most fitting on Rosh Hashanah when we proclaim God's kingdom over the whole world. According to the Terumi, which reveals many secrets hidden in the Holy Scriptures, the first verse of Hannah's prayer continues the prophecy that her son Samuel would be a prophet in Israel, that in his days the people of Israel would be delivered from the Philistines, that he would perform many miracles and wonders, and that his grandson Haman, with his 14 sons, would sing and say psalms in the Beit Hamikdash, together with other fellow Levites. In the second verse, Hannah predicts the defeat of Sennacherib at the gates of Jerusalem. Further on the prophecies about Nebuchadnezzar and other enemies of Israel who would pay for their wickedness, among them the Macedonians or the Greeks, who would be defeated by the Hasmoneans, the wicked Haman and his sons, and their defeat at the hands of Mordecai and Esther. Finally, Hannah also prophesies about the Great World War, when all the world will be engulfed in a desperate war of self-extermination, and then the Messiah will come and bring complete redemption to the people of Israel, and there will be a new world in which there will be no evil, no destruction, for all the world will be full of the wisdom of God. I'm going to take a moment and say a silent prayer. I hope you'll take a moment to join with me in this silent prayer as God decides each of our fate for the coming year. I pray that you and your family will be inscribed in the book of life for a happy, healthy new year. Thank you for joining me with Shana Tova. Happy New Year. Thank you. See you next time, guys.